The Full Melt Show is intended for a mature audience. It contains adult themes, adult content, and sometimes adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
It's the Full Melt Show.
Are you high? What are you talking about?
It's the Full Melt.
The Full Melt Show. A marijuana discussion about news, culture, politics, and lifestyle. FullMelt.com. Toll free. 844-420-TALK. 844-420-TALK.
Back in the saddle again for the last day of the year. Oh, there's legislative tricksters out there. A lot of predictions being made about 2016 in cannabis. There's also a lot to be thankful for the past year. ASA, Americans for Safe Access, certainly has made a point of pointing out what they've done over the past year. And you know, I don't know if you know Steph Scherer, or if you've ever had a chance to meet her, or if you've ever had a chance to interact with anybody from Americans for Safe Access, but they're an amazing organization. They've been around for a very long time now, like some 10 years or more. They certainly have been around longer than the Medical Marijuana Act here in Michigan has existed. I've had the good fortune of having the opportunity to meet Miss Scherer, and you've seen her on CNN and in other places when they talk about medical marijuana particularly. See, Steph doesn't work in the world of retail weed. She doesn't. Steph is all about safe access for medical patients. And really, that was the foundation of the legalization movement here in the country. And for that matter, around the world. Because it's not just a phenomenon happening here in the United States anymore. And so if you look over the things that have happened over the past year, there are quite a few things. To me, I think if you look year over year at the things that have been done, especially by organizations like ASA, because these guys haven't done it all, but they certainly have spearheaded the way. There are a lot of people it takes to get stuff like this done, legislative change, especially in the face of corruption, because we've turned what I would deem as tit-for-tat politics. In other words, I pay you some money to your campaign, and you owe me a favor. I might describe the favor right up front, tell you this is what I need from you for giving you this contribution. Now, as a politician, you might not want to hear it that way, and I might bend it a little bit so that I don't say it outright like that. Because, you know, what if that person was a part of the FBI or something? I mean, these kinds of things happen routinely, is my point, in America. The wholesale purchase of legislative action by the banking system is kind of flaunts corruption law, as does, influence from large corporations across the nation. The fact remains that the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare, would never have been done at all unless you got the people in the pharmaceutical and healthcare industries to sign off on it. And the only way they were willing to sign off is to say, hey, wait a minute now. We know that Canada and other large countries get to negotiate price for bulk purchasing. And we know that other countries' healthcare systems get to negotiate price over bulk purchasing. But in the coming bill, we're not going to let you do that. We want to name our own price, and you're just going to have to pay it. I mean, it's wholesale purchase. The banking industry, when they rewrote bankruptcy law back in, 2005, this is how they did it. They went to the banking people, the people in control of the banks, and there's just, like 6 big banks. And they came into Congress and said, with their liaisons, their legislative liaisons, basically K Street, Wall Street lobbyists, not even Wall Street lobbyists, Washington lobbyists. They came in there and said, look, this is the legislation we've crafted. Wait a minute. Isn't that what legislators do? Don't you go to legislators and let them write the legislation? No. These guys came in, bill in hand. They already wrote it. They already rewrote the bankruptcy law and said, here's what you're going to do. We're going to give you this, and you're going to pass it. And that's exactly what they did. Oh, you don't want to scare off, you don't want to piss off the banks, man. They've got control of all the money, right? I had to block somebody. And by the way, I got to mention this too. Congratulations to Abrogate, Michigan. Abrogate, Michigan, the story today, and I'll read you the story in further detail when we have a little more time in the program. I've got, this first introductory segment just kind of describes what the program is going to contain, and then we'll come back and revisit it. So we'll talk about ASA and the stuff that they got done over the past year. There's a whole list of accomplishments, and it's, it's longer than the phone screen is tall. And then we want to talk about Abrogate, Michigan, and their success story today. Now, I've got a whole tale wrapped around Abrogate, Michigan, with just personal experience and insight into the legislative crafting policy as it comes to citizens petition drives. It's an interesting story, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to bore you with just meaningless crap. I got some really, juicy tidbits up my sleeve. And those tidbits don't come easily, but I also don't pay for them, right? I don't go in and say, hey, here's the information you're going to give me, and I'm going to give you this money in payment thereof. So basically, I'm going to make an agreement to pay you for information. That's not happening. I tend to be a storehouse for a lot of nonsensical information. It's stuff that normal people wouldn't sit and record or try and pay attention to. It's a natural tendency of mine. I'm a detail-oriented person when it comes to information. So it makes me a good newsman, right? It makes me a good reporter. Most people don't have the propensity to handle that kind of detail. It's just too much. And I don't know why. Because it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult to follow. It's not that difficult to put together. So we'll spit it back out at you in a way that's entertaining and that has impact. A way that you can walk away from it going, oh, wait a minute, I didn't know about that. What now? Can you say that again? Because I almost don't believe what you just said. Wait, am I get this right? So we'll talk about Abrogate, Michigan and what's going on there. I'm a little bit bummed out because I spent a good deal of time yesterday learning a particular, this is, again, one of those detail-oriented things where it takes a lot of, nitpicky, what you want to call it, tedious, detailed information, a whole bunch of it in order to just build something, get an accomplishment. And I'm not, if you go down to the hardware store, if you go down to you get one of those build-it-yourself kits, if you go to the big box stores and you're going to bring back a desk, it's not going to be in the form of a desk unless it was a store model, and then how you getting the damn thing home because it's as big as a truck. So the way that, those packages come in, thick drywall sheets, basically. It's a stand-up box that you got to bring home, pull all the crap out, and assemble it piece by piece. And there's some simple instructions that come with that kind of stuff, Insert slot A or tab A into slot A, insert, tab B into slot B, or, there's numbers and letters and stick figures, and you connect the dots, and it's, pretty simple. It's a pain in the butt, and you might need some special tools to put it together, but that's how the desk is getting erected, right? You're not dragging it home built. You got to bring it home and put it together. It's that way sometimes with even simple things like bicycles. But I'm saying the level of detail is higher than that in what I had to do last night. And so I spent a bunch of time learning the detail on how to create some three-dimensional effects in lettering and making images out of I needed to create a little like logo because it's the splash screen that goes inside the mobile app that is going up. And so there was a little bit of controversy surrounding that. I was hoping that I could get somebody to feedback. Hey, is this thing that I created, is it good? Do you like it? Do you not like it? I put something up on Facebook. Now I can put something mundane up there, just something simple every day, and I'll get 30, 50 responses on it. I put one request up to people to tell me yay or nay on this crazy logo, and I got crickets. My business partner does not like that. Does not like that logo. Oh, it's dated. It looks dated. Well, it shouldn't be dated. I made it today. I think it's pretty cool. I like it a lot, actually. And I'd have used it for the splash screen myself if it was only my decision. It is, however, not. So I'm hoping maybe sometime during this show somebody might point. Now, I posted it on Facebook. It's almost right there at the top. It's a couple stories down on my personal Facebook page. If you got the time, if you listen to the show, go to Facebook and look up my name, Stephen Green. You can tell because I have the MI legalized, what do they call that? A profile picture. A profile picture is the MI legalized logo right now. And I've also got on my page the shot that's behind that. What do they call that? Whatever the Facebook shot is that's behind your image or your Facebook profile. There's a bigger picture behind there. I forget what they call it, but I put that up, and that's just a big 2016 Happy New Year scene over a cityscape. It's all, drawn. So go there and look and toggle down and find the TFM Media logo and see if you like that. Because I just like to get some feedback as to whether or not what I'm doing is worth it or not. Because it's a lot of work. I mean, I spent several hours on there last night learning how to and then actually building this logo. So was it worth the time or wasn't it? That's what I'm trying to find out. We're moving on. We got stuff to do. There's stuff that I didn't even get a chance to foreshadow in this opening segment. But let it be known that we're cracking open the egg and giving you everything we got left for 2015 as we look forward to the new year coming up right here on the Full Melt Show. Hang on, after the commercial break, we'll come back and explore some of these ideas.
You're getting the Full Melt.
When you need legal help, you don't want to guess at who's standing next to you in court. And when it comes to a medical marijuana defense, it's even smarter to partner with a lawyer before you need one. Based in Royal Oak, David Rudoy has a proven history of not being afraid to take your case all the way to the Supreme Court and win. Find the law offices of Rudoy Law
at RudoyLaw.com.
RudoyLaw.com is a quick reference on your rights concerning Michigan medical marijuana
and up-to-date news.
That's RUDOI Law.com. Call 248-935-9074 now and talk about your legal needs, because at RudoyLaw.com, we don't just stand up for you, we stand up with you.
What's up with these things, Victor?
We decided to give ourselves stickers for each feature we release.
We read about 10,000 suggestions a week to create features that, as traders, we'd want to use.
10,000 suggestions? Who reads all of those?
He does.
For all the confidence you need, TD Ameritrade. You got this.
Hey, it's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Door Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571.
Got something to hide? Canna offers discreet and effective storage solutions that destroy odor, so nobody knows. Canna is a patented charcoal-activated bag that discreetly stores your marijuana. Canna is made from the same material as military chemical warfare suits. Get yours at cannalock.com. Visit cannalock.com to learn more about no-smell technology.
Introducing Sacred Elements, a place for natural and alternative healing for the mind, body, and soul. Sacred Elements. It's one place, all solutions.
Registered, licensed, certified, ordained.
Sacred Elements.
Massage, hypnosis, Reiki,
Sacred Elements.
raindrop, aroma and color therapy, body detox, ministry, life coaching, weight and nutrition counseling.
Sacred Elements. Next to the Sweet Leaf, 400 South Dordt Highway, Flint.
11 to 7 daily, closed Sunday.
Call 810-259-2570. It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
Radio show.
Seems like a lot of the songs this past year have had this haunting theme to them. It just seems, is it me? I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying that, I remember a time in history, it was in the late 80s, where songs had this kind of haunting theme to them, and then it kind of disappeared for a while, and then it came back in, came back a couple of decades later, I suppose. You're listening to The Full Melt Show. You can hear us here Monday through Friday from 7 until 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be back on Monday, January 4th to continue our program in the new year, and we're so happy about that. If you want to join us on Facebook or on Twitter, there's a link at the top of the page at thefullmelt.com where you can become a part of that community. And please do. There's a lot of comments from people over there. I spend a good deal of the day working with answering questions or posting stuff and reading comments and reposting. Facebook takes up a ton of my time. I Twitter less, admittedly. You know why? Because I got a big mouth. I'm not so much the Twitter type because I can't say things in short terms. I find myself going, how can I change 180 words into something you can still understand basically the same thing, but it's got to fit in how many characters? I don't remember. 180 characters. Do you get 180 characters? I don't even think you get that. I think you get less. I don't even know. It's not very much, that's for sure. Was talking before about Abrogate, Michigan, and boy, I'll bet you that's some audio right there. It is. I'm a little bit bummed out because one of the things is this it here? It'd be nice if it is. It is not. I was thinking I found a chord. That's not the chord I'm looking for. What about this chord? Oh, it is. Oh, I found it. Oh, I've been missing. I couldn't find this chord. I've been looking for this chord. And where did this come from? What is that? I don't know what's plugged in there. It shouldn't be plugged in, whatever it is. I have no idea what that... I don't know. Whatever it is, I'm unplugging that. Oh, I know what was going on. I think I know. It's more Bobby play. Bobby's gone, by the way. Bobby's not with our show anymore. I'm almost a little bit relieved. I think that was Bobby's doing while I was out doing that marathon broadcast. Started tinkering with, boy, he's a button pusher. Likes to push not just only people's buttons, but he likes to, if there's a physical button, that guy wants to push it. If there's a knob, he wants to turn it. If there's a lever, he wants to pull it. If you give him levers, buttons, knobs, he's just having a heyday. He's like a pig in crap is what he is. I want to play this piece about Abrogate, Michigan.
Local businesses, 9 and 10 News and Fox 32 are teaming up to help you with your holiday shopping with a $250 gift card. Make a personal connection. Shop local. Enter each week to win on Facebook/9and10news.com and watch Michigan This Morning on 9 and 10 News each Monday to see if you've won.
Yeah, commercial.
There is a new push to legalize marijuana in Michigan.
State election officials just approved a petition to fully legalize the use of the plant for recreational, medicinal, agricultural, and other uses. The petition would not allow marijuana taxes or any regulation to diminish use. Now, Abrogate Prohibition Michigan needs to collect around 315,000 valid voter signatures to get it on the November 2016 statewide ballot. Do you think marijuana should be fully legalized for use in Michigan? Why or why not? It's the question we asked you online today for tonight's Feedback at 5.
Starting things off with Jamie, who says yes, not only is medicinal marijuana helpful to a large variety of people with hundreds of different ailments, it's a huge step away from habit-forming narcotics.
Addie says, I know several people who have used prescription pain medicines as well as others that have used marijuana. I would rather be around those smoking than those popping pills. Yes, Michigan should regulate it, tax it just like alcohol and tobacco. There are far worse drugs out there.
Moving on to Laureen, who says no, there are enough problems with people driving when using drugs and alcohol. Smoking marijuana is bad for your lungs and has as many carcinogens as tobacco smoke.
And we finish up with Benjamin, who says no, marijuana should not be legalized in Michigan. Marijuana should be legalized everywhere.
Keep your comments coming. Hundreds of you weighed in today. Connect with us now on 9and10news.com or join in on the discussion on Facebook or Twitter.
Now, 9 and 10 News, by the way, is in northern Michigan. It seems that it's not just 9 and 10 News up there. It's not just 9 and 10 News. It's 9 and 10 News and Fox 32. So it's Fox 32 on 9 and on 10, as well as on 32. It's funny, if you live in a non-populated part of the earth, you get these repeater stations, and you get, down here in southern Michigan in the Detroit market, which is the largest, media market in the state. If you've got a transmitter, it covers your area, right? It's covering the metro area. But if you're up north, that same size signal is not sufficient to reach all the people that you got to reach. So they'll have a couple stations in on it. In this case, now there's 3. So they're all pumping the same content, and it depends on where you live in northern Michigan as to where you might be receiving this news. So that's from them, 9 and 10 and Fox 32 up north in Michigan. But here's the thing. Abrogate, Michigan, as was kind of briefly outlined in that little news piece there, is not about anything but growing marijuana like tomatoes. I mean, nobody's going to argue with you if you want to plant your entire lawn full of tomatoes. Nobody. I mean, if you're in a homeowners association or if you're in a condominium association, something like that, then you might have a problem with those people because they might describe as to your association agreement what you can grow and where in way of garden. But everybody else on the face of Michigan, on the Big Mitten, on the Great Lakes state, can grow what they want where they want. Well, and so that's been modified too. There's been some considerable push to keep people from being able to farm in their own, property. There's actually a concerted attempt to, and I saw this out of West Michigan. I don't know if this happens anywhere else in the country, but they're telling people they can't grow their own vegetable gardens, at all. You can't do it in city limits at all. You can't have chickens. You can't have any basically livestock. If it's a chicken or other small livestock, a pig, something like that, you're not allowed to have it. Not inside those city limits. They've zoned you out. They said, no, you can't do that here. Same thing goes with growing a regular vegetable garden. That bothers me because people should be allowed to grow their own food. It's one of the most fundamental things we do on this planet as humans is grow our own food. Manufacture our own supply of things to eat. This is how Abrogate, Michigan wants marijuana to be. They want no taxation. You're not paying taxes on any tomatoes when you go buy them. You're not. If you want to grow tomatoes in your garden, you can have as many rows as you want, and nobody's going to come by and tell you can't do it. If you want to sell some of your tomatoes to a neighbor because he doesn't have any tomatoes, that's fine. If you want to give them away, that's also okay. And you can sell those tomatoes for as much as you can get, right? If somebody's willing to pay you $10 for that prized tomato, you're more than welcome to charge them that price if they're willing to pay it. And that's how the people at Abrogate, Michigan want cannabis to be. And so do I, by the way. I think most people who believe, pardon me, my smoke went out, as he sits here and ticks away, sucking down the carcinogens of nicotine flavor. Vaping doesn't do it for me, sorry. It's going to kill me if I don't stop. See, this is just clear vision. I understand that my activity with cigarette smoking is detrimental to my health. I fully understand the ramifications of it. I undergo them on a daily basis at this point because I've been smoking too much for too long. But I have a clear understanding of the health ramifications of my actions. And I'm fully capable, even though I have a hard time doing it, of stopping doing that if I want. I have an addiction to nicotine. It's one of the strongest addictions I've ever had to anything in my life, and I tend to be an addicted person. So if you give me substance and I like it, I'm going to tend to probably lean towards addiction if I don't find a way to mitigate it. I'm talking anything from sugar to caffeine to cannabis to cocaine. It doesn't matter what it is. If you give it to me and I like it, it's going to be something I'm going to be drawn to. It doesn't mean it's an activity that I can't control or maintain or abstain from. It doesn't. I have that capability, and I often exercise that will. As it relates to Abrogate, Michigan, here's how the story goes. So, being that I'm kind of really well connected with the people that have been doing all of this activism over the past several years, now the better part of a decade, I suppose. And because I'm close to them, I understand the tickings, the inner workings, the thought process, the management within that made us output whatever we output in whatever we were doing, whether it was the campaign we did in 2012, which was it was a free the weed campaign pretty much. I mean, but tried to do many of the same things that MI Legalized does, just in a different way. And, we didn't have enough organization in 2012. We didn't have enough support in 2012. People weren't angry enough yet. They were still hoping that in the courts we might get some solace, that the courts in Michigan might decide that the use of the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act as a sword instead of a shield on patients here was not tolerable, and that there was going to be some pushback from at least some judge somewhere that said, no, you can't do this. This is bait and switch. You're going out there and saying, look, medical patients, go ahead and get your medical marijuana. There's a state-sanctioned card for it. There's some protection for it. Go ahead and do it. But then as soon as they do, you go out and you bang on their door and you raid them and you call them criminals. See, that's bait and switch to me. And it took more of that from more police and prosecutors that are still hell-bent on profiting from the prohibition of cannabis and other substances because they're just hell-bent on it. They're suckling off that teat of cash. And unless it's like trying to take a bottle from a hungry baby. You're going to get some pushback. You're going to get some screaming, and you're going to get some crying and some kicking in the face until you give them the bottle back. And that's what's going on with police and prosecutors right now. They're so hogtied with the corruption of prohibition money that's been thrown their way by legislators as an incentive to, even exist, because the legislators aren't giving them any money. They're not giving those police any money. And I feel bad for police that have this as an issue to deal with. It defocuses them from their core task, which is to protect and serve the community. I mean, we rely on police for safety. How can you rely on anybody for safety and security if you're busy fearing them? Nobody was ever meant to fear the police. Not as normal, everyday citizens. And I'm talking about ill people. I'm talking about people with terrible conditions. It took more of beating on those people's heads and more of us watching that agony happen from afar if they weren't doing it to us directly. And they were. Some of us survived that. Some of us did not. But I guarantee you, almost everybody that's in the medical marijuana community here in Michigan has been affected by this issue. So, in my heart of hearts, I believe in what Abrogate, Michigan says. You shouldn't have to tax it. You shouldn't have to regulate it. You shouldn't have to tell people that you don't give pot to kids. You shouldn't have to tell people that, hey, you're growing way too much weed. Can you cut it out because you're starting to grow across the property line? But sometimes you do. And sometimes in order to get things done, in order to move things forward, the political process says you've got to bend a little bit. If everybody stood forward on their principles and on their positions and never modified, we'd never get anything done in way of law in this country. If you're standing 10 feet on that side of the line and I'm standing 10 feet on this side of the line and the line is getting it done, and we both got to be on the line to get it done,
you're going to have to move closer towards my side, and I'm going to have to move closer towards yours, which means there's got to be some compromise, some reasonable, agreed-upon compromise. Yes, I'm not going to like the part that I have to compromise to get our way, and you might not like the idea that you got to compromise a little bit on your position to get our way. Because we have common ground, we're just a little bit far apart on it. So if we move closer together, so we're standing on the same line now, we're in harmony, and we can get something done. This doesn't happen very easily in many places across the country. And when it does happen, it tends to have been done with other catalysts like money. When somebody comes along and says, hey, we'll give you a couple $1 million, but you're going to have to change your position to this because the only way that this is getting to become law is if you modify this. Because we've done all the polling and the research and the studies, we see exactly where people are on this, and we know what our chances are of getting this done if we stay on this position. It's not going to happen. We've got to move a little closer that way so we can get some more support on, and then we can get it done. The numbers all support it. It'll happen. But see, Abrogate, Michigan didn't want to do any kind of compromise. They didn't want to come and support organizations like MI Legalize, who does support a tax and regulation model. Not only because it can be simple and common sense, it doesn't leave any room for really jailing of anybody unless you're giving cannabis to kids or selling it or providing it in any way. It's just like alcohol. You don't do it. You don't do it. It's disrespectful, and it's potentially harmful. In some cases, some people might even say it's likely harmful, or it is harmful. Either way, you've got to modify. And so the people that are now Abrogate, Michigan, that are like, no, there can be no taxation. No, you can't regulate this. If I want to open up a cannabis shop and sell my wares inside there, nobody can tell me I can't do that. Nobody's going to stop me from putting up a tomato store. Nobody's going to stop me from selling corn at a street side stand. This is what Abrogate believes. And I argue with these people online frequently. Even recently, up until the leader, Tim Locke, I had to block him. I had to block him on Facebook because he was just such an asshole. And he wasn't even willing to talk about stuff in a reasonable way. I think the argument we got in this was over economy, right? Over economy. So when I come back after the break, I'll finish up this bit about Abrogate, Michigan, because I haven't gotten to the meat of the subject yet. I was just kind of setting up the story, so to speak, the setup. Here's the wind-up. Now we're waiting for the pitch. Well, the pitch is coming after the break, and then we're going to move into this business about ASA and also some other things we can look forward to in the coming year in the cannabis realm. Stand by. We'll be right back.
You're getting the full melt.
What's up with these things, Victor?
We decided to give ourselves stickers for each feature we release.
We read about 10,000 suggestions a week to create features that, as traders, we'd want to use.
10,000 suggestions? Who reads all of those?
He does.
For all the confidence you need, TD Ameritrade, you got this.
At book club, they were asking me what you're doing now, Janice.
Blogging. Your blog is just pictures of you in a mirror.
It's called a fashion blog, Todd. Well, I've been helping people save money with Progressive's discounts. Flo, can you get Janice a job?
You should have stuck to softball. I was so much better at softball than Janice Dead.
Where's your wife, Todd?
Vacation.
Discounts like homeowners, multi-policy. I got a discount on this ham.
I've got the meat sweats. It's good ham, Diane.
Paperless discounts. Give it a rest, Flo.
Yeah, Flo, give it a rest.
We ask people to tell us something that happened in their past and something that might happen in their future. The good things were put on yellow magnets and the bad ones on blue. The results show the past was a pretty even mix of good and bad, yet the future was almost all good things. Now that you've seen the results of this experiment, what does it mean to you?
We all want to think about positive stuff.
Realistically, there will be downtimes.
It's great to think optimistically, but let's plan for whatever the future might bring.
Prudential, bring your challenges.
If you're like us, your pets aren't just animals. They're members of your family. Pet Pain CBD hemp oil drops are great for aging as well as active dogs and cats. Some people are apprehensive about hemp treatments for pets. They ask us, what are you smoking? Absolutely nothing, and neither will your pet. Like other hemp-based products for humans, the allure is all of the benefits of cannabis without any of the high. The CBD oil has shown to rejuvenate the bones, joints, brain, stomach, eyes, and heart. And the drops contain absolutely no corn, wheat, soy, artificial colors and flavors, or preservatives. Pick some up today. Visit petpain.com or ask for Pet Pain at your local pet store. Petpain.com. CBD relief for your pet.
Surprise, motherfucker.
It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
All right, you want to chime in on what we got going on here today? You got to say, if you're from Abrogate and you want to tell me to F off, you don't have to do that because first off, I'm on your side. I'm easily mistaken. 844-420-TALK. 844-420-8255 is the phone number here. I want to see those phones light up and engage you on topic. Abrogate, Michigan, before they became Abrogate, Michigan, or before they even had a name like Abrogate, Michigan. And what does the term abrogate mean? First off, it bothers me that they wanted to use a term that maybe many people didn't know what it meant. You know? I mean, what does abrogation mean? It's a doctrine, really. And that doctrine, according to Wikipedia, if you want to look it up, is a constitutional law doctrine expounding when and how the Congress may waive a state's sovereign immunity and subject it to lawsuits to which the state has not consented, i.e., for example, to abrogate their immunity to such suits. And so this is what this, people, if you take the term abrogate and use it in the context of how people want to use it, it's like reject. It's like rejecting prohibition. See, repeal today, which is like a former intonation of "Am I legalized?" I think. Back in 2012 was much the same thing. The idea was to repeal the prohibition of cannabis. See, the only way that we can take away the sword of police is to take away the illegality of cannabis as a whole. Because if you leave it, the way that we did it with the Medical Marijuana Act was we said, look, we're not going to change the cannabis laws. We're not going to change any drug laws except to modify for this position for medical necessity. And so we're instead of saying that for those people there is no prohibition, right? That would be the logical way of doing it. Saying for people who have a medical necessity and have proven that through a doctor's certification and by having a certain condition that has been agreed to by the masses as being warranting the use of cannabis as a therapy, should you so choose, or should you need that? Because many people need it. The reason they're going to cannabis is because everything else has failed them. Ask cancer patients who used to have dispersed, blastomas in their brain. I mean, it looks like if you take an X-ray of their brain, you'd see little spots of cancer everywhere. It looks like you're looking up at a picture of the stars. And you're talking about brain cancer, it's usually the form of blastoma. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not I have a little bit of a medical background. Certainly trained in a lot of stuff. But, and I know a lot of terms, a lot of medical terms. I can name all the bones, and I can name all the, I could do all the stuff that you used to be able to do in high school science on a test. Point a bone out, I can tell you what that bone's name is. Point a muscle out, I can tell you what that muscle is. Put an organ out, I can tell you what that organ is. Many people still can't do that. They take the test in high school and they walk away and they're like, I don't know. Scapula? What is that? I don't know. Is that a knee bone? No, it's not. It's a shoulder bone. Anyways, the point is that with abrogate, they wanted to say and adamantly that we're not going to support anything short of completely removing any prohibition on cannabis, completely removing any illegality, any rule involving marijuana, especially one that criminalizes anything or would charge you anything in way of cash. Restricting your ability to access it and use it as a commodity. Right? Nobody's going to tell you can't take that corn stalk and mill the corn off of it and turn it into cream of corn, or just eat the corn raw, or if you want to cook the corn, you can do what you want with that corn. And that's what people with Abrogate, Michigan want to do with cannabis. And I'm behind them. In my heart of hearts, I believe that everybody in the medical marijuana and the retail cannabis movement in the drug policy reform movement. In my heart of hearts, I believe they all are with you in that spirit. The problem is the compromise issue. I was talking about before the break. You got to compromise to get everybody on board, because the pot people of the world only make up like 10% of the world that give a damn. The rest of them that use cannabis or think that it shouldn't be something that you should be, subjected to jail or fines or fees or chastisation or threatening your job, any of that kind of stuff. Those people, they're going to stand aside. Those guys make up the majority of the population. They don't give a damn. I mean, when it comes to they could live or die without this. They don't care whether or not people ever stop going to jail over cannabis, unless it affects them directly. And then they care a lot then. Right? Nobody cares about gun control and violence until their kid's been shot and killed by a policeman with no reason or cause other than his own fear. And you're a jackbooted thug. I don't care. I don't care how afraid you were for your life. You took on a job that is a dangerous job. It's your responsibility to protect and serve, not worry about your own stupid ass. If you're too stupid to not put yourself in a position of danger, you can't then get yourself out of that danger with a gun and call it okay, Mr. Policeman. That is not acceptable. You wouldn't do it with your family. Why would you do it with the populace you described to go and protect? Right? So these people at Abrogate, Tim and some core supporters behind Abrogate, Michigan, would argue frequently about not supporting these issues. They were marijuana supporters who were tearing down our pathway to success in this state. And this happens everywhere. This is why I'm bringing the subject up. I'm not picking on Abrogate, and I'm not picking on our own MI legalized group. I'm not. This is the kind of fight that happens, this infighting that happens all across the country, and it's a problem. So my response to people that were arguing about the process of taxing and regulating marijuana in a reasonable way, a responsible way, in a way that doesn't really inhibit its use, and it takes away the money from the pie for police and prosecutors and state anybody else that's profiting off of this industry, takes the money away from them. Outright, it says, no, you don't deserve your allowance anymore because you've been abusing it. So my response to these people at Abrogate, when they would say, no, we're not going to support things like MI legalized, they would use these nonsensical arguments to say that that's why they can't support it. Why can't you, if you want to get to the top floor and there's staircase in the way, you can't argue about the steps in the middle, right? You can't just take one leap up there, otherwise there wouldn't be a staircase. You got to take it in steps. And so why, if you and I both want to get to that top floor, why would you argue with my theory of walking up the staircase? Because that's what we want to do. It's what we did with the Medical Marijuana Act. It's what we've done with all the activism. This is a huge process of educating people, and that staircase is the part that does it. Each little step is another step of education for the populace so that you can get to your place for Abrogate, right? My response was, look, when you have formed your own little group, when you have formed your own political action committee, when you've raised your own money, when you put your own ballot language together, then you can come back and argue with me about position. But until then, shut your trap. It's really easy to go run around Monday morning quarterbacking somebody else's efforts when you're doing nothing but yapping your jaw on the other side. And so they took me up on that challenge. And today, they were successful. And so I have to give hats off to my blocked friend on Facebook, Tim Locke, and all of his supporters, Dana Carver and a bunch of other people, who are just absolutely adamant about not supporting any taxation and regulation model. So what these guys have today done have done exactly what I challenged them to do, and I thank them for taking up that challenge because it was the only way they were going to get done what they wanted to get done, and time will tell. Because what today they did, they got their ballot language approved, which means they can now go start collecting signatures, provided they've got the money to print the damn things. That's a lot of printing. They need 315,000 signatures in 6 months because they want to change the state's constitution to say you can't do anything about pot. It's now a garden implement. You can't argue because I'm growing pot next door to your house and you don't like it because you got kids in the backyard. You can't say that anymore because we've taken away any illegality about cannabis. If I want to grow it, you're just going to have to deal with it or put a fence up. So that's what they're going to do. They got to collect 315,000 signatures now in 6 months, and they've got 6 months from the time they start collecting that first signature. Now, it takes money, a lot of money to print up that many petitions. A lot of money. It's very expensive. I mean, figure if it costs you even 50 cents a sheet, that's still over $150,000. Where are you getting that money from, Mr. Locke? You're going to have to go out and raise it. You're going to have to hold fundraisers. You're going to have to get organized. You're going to have to get people behind you that will donate to that cause. And you're going to have to bust your ass collecting those signatures because I don't think you're going to raise enough money to get the pros to do it, which is what MI Legalize is doing. But my hat's off to you for getting this far because it's the only way that you can have any legitimacy, any merit towards your position is to take action and stop yapping about what other people are doing. So my hats are, again, off to them. If you want to sign the petition for abrogate, and I will help them. I will help collect signatures if I can. I will, and like I said, in my heart of hearts, I'd like to see that bill get on the ballot, and I'd like to see it get passed. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't. I just don't. I think there are too many people that don't agree that there needs to be some kind of regulation. And with regards to taxation, look, the only reason I think taxes are involved in the offer on MI Legalize is because it's the only way we could get some people on board. We needed more people to support. And if we had to do that, don't you think you would too? I mean, we've done our homework in MI Legalize. We know what's going on. We know what the polls say. With thumbs on the heartbeat of that community, we know exactly what needs to be done, and we're carrying that mission forward. I'll help abrogate. I'll stand behind abrogate. I will do what I can to assist abrogate, despite our differences. But what has to be done is what has to be done. And now there's going to be maybe 2, possibly 3 ballot initiatives talking about legalizing cannabis for adults. Well, I guess in the case of abrogate, for everybody, right? I mean, I don't know. What does it say in the abrogate language about kids? I don't know what it says. Either way, when we come back, we got to talk about ASA and some other news. We've got some updates on the mobile apps that are coming forth in a very, very short span. Hang on, you're listening to The Full Melt Show. We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
You're getting The Full Melt.
Promotional consideration provided by NoSmell.com, pioneering the storage market for cannabis users. The No-Smell patented bag technology offers users 100% smell-proof detection from even the most sophisticated of noses. NoSmell.com, so nobody knows. When placing your order for a no-smell bag, make sure to use discount code FULLMELT and take 10% off the entire order. Learn more about no-smell technology at nosmell.com.
Young students are our future. They're eager to learn, eager to succeed, eager to make the world a better place. And they want to make it to school safely. Share the road, take care when passing, and always leave 3 feet between you and people on bikes. Bikes are legal road vehicles. We're all drivers.
When you need legal help, you don't want to guess at who's standing next to you in court. And when it comes to a medical marijuana defense, it's even smarter to partner with a lawyer before you need one. Based in Royal Oak, David Rudoy has a proven history of not being afraid to take your case all the way to the Supreme Court and win. Find the law offices of Rudoy Law
at RudoyLaw.com.
RudoyLaw.com is a quick reference on your rights concerning Michigan medical marijuana
and up-to-date news.
That's RUDOI Law.com. Call 248-935-9074 now and talk about your legal needs, because at RudoyLaw.com, we don't just stand up for you, we stand up with you.
If you're like us, your pets aren't just animals. They're members of your family. Pet Pain CBD hemp oil drops are great for aging as well as active dogs and cats. Some people are apprehensive about hemp treatments for pets. They ask us, what are you smoking? Absolutely nothing, and neither will your pet. Like other hemp-based products for humans, the Allure is all of the benefits of cannabis without any of the high. The CBD oil has shown to rejuvenate the bones, joints, brain, stomach, eyes, and heart. And the drops contain absolutely no corn, wheat, soy, artificial colors and flavors, or preservatives. Pick some up today. Visit petpain.com or ask for Pet Pain at your local pet store. Petpain.com. CBD relief for your pet.
Hey, it's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Door Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571. It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
There ain't no secrets anymore.
Not a moment to waste left in the show. Not a moment to waste at all, in fact. Got to move on to this thing about Asa. Look, it's just a little side note. But you got to pay attention to it, right?
I got this feeling I can't keep it down anymore.
Oh, I got a feeling something else is going to happen. There's going to be some shoes dropping. There's going to be other shoes dropping, and it's all in the arena of cannabis in the coming year. And some people are just not going to like it. They're not going to like it at all. Here's a quick list of the things that ACE is proud about working on this year. Introducing the comprehensive bipartisan federal medical cannabis legislation in the Senate and the House. They passed a federal ceasefire on medical cannabis patients. Did you hear that? I'll say it again. Passed a federal ceasefire on medical cannabis patients. Won the largest successful vote in Congress yet, 242 to 186. Hosted Senate and congressional briefings, coordinated thousands of constituent meetings with elected officials, co-founded the International Medical Cannabis Patient Coalition, or the IMCPC, testified before legislators and regulators in dozens of states, passed comprehensive state regulatory bills, added product safety protocols to state laws across the country, passed an organ transplant patient rights bill in California, which is so important. You know, if you use cannabis, they're going to consider that a street drug, an illegal street drug, and it's going to take you off the list of as a donor. If you've got liver failure because you've got cirrhosis caused by, say, something like, I don't know, hepatitis. You got the hep C and it's destroyed your liver. So now you need a new one. If you're a cannabis smoker, if you're a medical cannabis smoker because of this ailment that you have, you're off the list. You can't get an organ. In any other state, it takes you off the list. In California, no longer so. Testified at the WHO, the World Health Organization, on medical cannabis. Organized thousands of constituent meetings with elected officials. Generated hundreds of thousands of emails and calls and signatures on petitions. Launched the International Cannabis and Cannabinoid Institute, or the ICCI. Provided up-to-date information on medical cannabis laws to millions through ACE's website. Educated thousands of patients on cannabis as a medicine. Trained thousands of medical cannabis industry workers on product safety protocol compliance, and represented patient perspective in the media and at conferences around the world. Please, if you're in one of those states that doesn't have medical cannabis, if you're one of the unfortunate states that has pushback on this issue and you understand how important it is, or maybe you're one of the people who's just been pushing to get this done because you've seen what it's done for people in other states. Maybe you've got a child that's got a seizure disorder and you're basically a medical refugee because you had to move from, say, Tennessee to Colorado to provide for your kid. It's so important. Support ASA. Go there and make a simple donation. It's tax deductible. Make your donation now and take it off your taxes at the end of the year. Your money goes a long way. If in the same respect, now you can't deduct a political contribution for a ballot initiative. I don't think your money is tax deductible if you're going to go support or donate to an organization like Abrogate Michigan or MI Legalize. Those are not deductible because they're politically active. If you go and you support somebody like ASA because they're a national nonprofit it does qualify as a tax deduction, right? So keep that in mind, and spend your money wisely, and spend also your political capital wisely. ASA can help you to do that. They do raid preparedness. So if you're one of these states that has one of these shield laws, rather than changing the underlying condition, which means that people with cannabis in any form, under any circumstances, are conducting an illegal activity and subject to jail and fine. ASA will help you prepare for raids in your state if that's how police and prosecutors are inclined to handle their newfound medical cannabis law. Because that's what they do. And it's just a last-minute look, if you know that the honey jar is about to empty out through the bottom, you may choose to take the top off and dip in there a couple of times to get some honey out before it's all gone. And that's what police are doing right now. And they're doing it across the country. In Michigan, that ceasefire will happen the moment that either MI legalize or abrogate, or I discount the other ones because I don't believe that they take enough away from police and prosecutors. There'll still be people going to jail under the MRC and the MCC's positions in Michigan. And if you're in a state, any state that's choosing to modify law, either legislatively or through ballot initiative, pay attention to the language because it means a lot. If you got questions about something going on in your state, reach us at thefullmelt@gmail.com. Thefullmelt@gmail.com. I'll answer your questions privately. Look, I'm not a know-it-all. I don't have all the answers, but I'm certainly a great reference. I can certainly provide you the information and have the backing of where that information came from. I'm not just pulling it out my ass. I'm pulling it out of a file, and in that file is where that information came from. If it came from a legislator, if it came from a court decision, or if it came from the feds, there's someplace that information came from, and I can show you the merit behind the position, the merit behind the information. It's not useless information. It doesn't come without attachment. So that's what's going on there. Now, I just wanted to go over the quick Google list because I think the news is always important. The news is what shapes this issue across the country. And on that subject, what is the cannabis news today? I'll give you the top 10 stories. State stars cash in on branded marijuana. We're talking about people like Snoop Dogg and Willie Nelson and Melissa Etheridge and Rihanna. I mean, these guys are all have brands in marijuana now. Willie Nelson. Oregon's marijuana tax holiday ends Monday. The state could be a catalyst for East Coast marijuana legalization. We're talking about. Well, this is from the Salem News, and that's Oregon. So maybe they're talking about Oregon as being, I don't know, let's investigate that, because this is in the IB Times, who managed to pick up a story about our running around collecting signatures for MI legalized. Talking about Colorado. Yeah, see, they're talking about the West Coast being influential on what happens on the East Coast. It absolutely is true. And then, when we talk about what else is going on, well, I'll tell you. LDS mom pushes for legalization of miracle drug medical marijuana. We're talking about a divorced Mormon mother turning herself in to the sheriff's office on drug charges. Pot science, top marijuana findings of 2015. We'll dig into that just briefly after I get done with this list. Yuba County, this is in Arizona. Arrested. I'm sorry. I take that back. This is in Pennsylvania. Yuba County deputy arrested in Pennsylvania for marijuana delivery. So groups trying to get legal marijuana on the ballot. Select debate medicinal marijuana. Selectman. That's in Saugus. Where the hell is Saugus? A woman who plowed car into Las Vegas crowd had used marijuana. No surprise there. Most people in the country have used marijuana. Worcester marijuana facility sought by 7 companies. We're talking about Massachusetts there. So there's all this political jockeying happening for, do I have a license? Do I have a place? Do I have ordinance permission? How can I become involved in this new thing called the cannabis industry? Those supporters and non-supporters alike all jumping on that bandwagon. Really quickly, sales tax, stars. No, I'm missing the story now. Ready to go. Pot science, top marijuana findings in 2015. And I have to go through this list really quick. I hope this livescience.com article lets me have that because I have literally seconds left in the program. Findings about marijuana came out this year. Advanced to science, 11 odd facts about marijuana. Okay, number 1, more people are using the drug. Number 2, new insights into conditions helped by medical marijuana. Number 3, unforeseen risks of medical marijuana. Number 4, marijuana and the teenage brain. And number 5, additional probing of marijuana's effect on the brain. Check out the article in livescience.com. Until next year, we'll see you.
The Full Melt Show is a production of TFM Media.